Yesterday, Veron asked me, how did you get started with FaithSMagnet? And I keep on getting that question. So I decided I'm going to record a video that explains everything. Before we get started, though, we have to watch this 1-minute video. You understand when we meet on the other side. See you in 1 minute.
A group of scientists placed 5 monkeys in a cage and in the middle a ladder with bananas on top. Every time a monkey went up the ladder, the scientists soaked the rest of the monkeys with cold water. After a while, every time a monkey went up the ladder, the others beat up the one on the ladder. After some time, no monkey dared go up the ladder, regardless of the temptation. Scientists then decided to substitute one of the monkeys. The first thing this new monkey did was go up the ladder. Immediately, the other monkeys beat him up. After several beatings, the new member learned not to climb the ladder, even though he never knew why. A second monkey was substituted, and the same occurred. The first monkey participated on the beating for the second monkey. The replacements repeated until what was left was a group of 5 monkeys that, even though never received a cold shower, continued to beat up any monkey who attempted to climb the ladder. If you asked the new group of monkeys why the beatings took place, the answer would probably be,
well, I don't know. That's just how things are done around here.
The reason why I wanted to share this video is because this is exactly what happened to me at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York in 2015. I was just a little monkey looking for a banana, and I didn't know what I was doing, but the reality is this. I started working at the Federal Reserve that same year, and I was working at AIG before, and they brought me into the Federal Reserve saying they're gonna give me, match my contract for contract to permanent position. I quit my job at AIG, start working for them, but the first day, the very first day, weird things started happening. But the reality is this. Throughout the whole time that I spent there, I was doing a great job. I was performing well. Everybody loved me. They sent me messages and say, hey, this is a great job you did at that meeting. So I was happy because my contract was going to become permanent, because that was one of the conditions that I performed well and that I passed a security clearance, which I wasn't worried about because I didn't have any criminal history or anything. So that day when I go to work, December 23rd, 2015, they invented a crime. I don't even know in the detail or all of that because it's going to waste a lot of time in the video, but they invented the crime and said that I'm guilty of that crime. And the police commissioner, Bill Bratton, just came down on me like with the crime that he had in his head. He told me about guns and knives, and I told him, I'm not interested in guns. So he had a crime in his head that he said that I could have done. Believe it or not, unbelievable. This was just hell. And so I get arrested because he brings NYPD forces from the NYPD when there is a Federal Reserve, a New York Police Department inside the Federal Reserve. So there are multiple kind of police in there. And I'm in the middle like, hey, I'm just a monkey trying to get a banana, man. And I'm handcuffed. First time in my life, handcuffed. They bring me to the police department, and when I'm inside of the car, they try to bring someone else in the car. I'm like, what? This is not a cab. This is the police car. You don't put someone else in the car. Just bring me to the police station. And then I started crying and told them somebody's trying to get me. I wasn't supposed to be arrested. And the 2 police officers, 2 white guys, they were cool. They didn't know what was happening. And so I was just talking the whole way. And then they bring me to the police station, they check my history, they see that I don't have any criminal history. So they fill out some paperwork and they kick me out like, get out of here. Somebody from the Federal Reserve is calling us so that we keep you in jail. That's the NYPD saying that to me. It was crazy. So I got out of there, go back to work, try to get to the Federal Reserve, and they don't want to let me in. They tell me that management is saying that I can't go back to work. So I go across the street, pick up my phone, Call my boss. Her name is Dana. So I call her, Dana, I'm stuck out. I don't know if you know what happened this morning. And she says like, no, I don't know. There is a problem, but I'm not sure. We in this or that meeting. And so I talk with the people at security. So that's when I realized I'm just being given a runaround. Go home, pick up my computer, check out my emails. I see all of this stuff going on. So I still have access. But I'm confused because I don't know if I got fired because I didn't do anything. The bottom line is this. They made up a crime because I was creative. I was trying to get a banana. I was trying to fix a problem. Or because I was black. I don't know. Whatever the reason, I believe is tied to my race. I'm not stupid. But the point is this. The scientist in the video, that's just the Federal Reserve to me. That's what I believe now. And the bottom line is that after this, I lose my job. Depression start hitting. After that, I filed a lawsuit. And the 1 month after, I go to court for the arrest of the Federal Reserve. And I'm found not guilty. So I take that information, I put it in my lawsuit. 1 week after I'm found not guilty of nothing, 9 NYPD police officers invade my apartment and they almost killed me. I file another lawsuit. I keep on fighting and fighting and fighting. And in my mind, I now have PTSD. And I'm trying to not be afraid of anything. And that's how, over time, I get completely depressed, right? Because I realize a bunch of things are out of whack, that I didn't do anything. Now I'm targeted by these giant corporations that I don't even know why they're after me. They say now that I'm a risk to the Federal Reserve. I've done nothing to be a risk to anything. And the bottom line is that depression start eating me up. I go to therapy, prescription drug, and I'm lost because I don't want to work in technology ever again in my life at that time. Now I don't mind. But the bottom is depression hits me. I start depressing and hating the Federal Reserve. And the only way for me, I understand, to grow from that situation was to stop hating, because that's just fear. I refocus my mind. I start reading, researching, and realizing that researching on the Federal Reserve to understand what it was, because it was the way for me to grow through. And now I realize that they've based money on oil, which makes no sense. Money should be based on gold, silver, or bronze. Basing money on oil, that just means we're going to be at war forever. And all of this is now hitting me in all directions with the PTSD and what the Federal Reserve really, which, by the way, I've never met anyone now who was able to explain to me what the Federal Reserve was, and it made sense. It's just something that I don't know what it is. It's not even constitutional. So all of these fears start hitting me, and I don't know which direction to go. And that's how faith was the only route. I started getting spiritual. And then I posted something online, and one of my friends didn't understand, because before that I was going through a lot already. And then it was so clear in my mind, but she couldn't understand. And so I realized I have a better time just drawing it. And that's where it started, because I used UML, the Unified Modeling Language, which is a visual language that technology people use to describe the guts of a computer system in a visual way. Extremely powerful. And that's what I was using, because that's what I was using at work to explain what I was saying. And when I then started growing it, it was so powerful, because the things that I understood, when you see the four corners, you see your mind shifting in front of you, like paradigm shifting. It is so powerful. And then I kept on doing that, because at the time I was also doing therapy and prescription drug, which wasn't helping. And I realized that it was just a waste of time. The way to grow out of PTSD and all of these things is to work on oneself. That's the only way, self-knowledge. So I understand all of these things, and I understand how UML can help me understand myself, and I start pushing and pushing until I start sharing it with people. And then I realized how much ahead I am of everyone else in understanding some of these things that are taught by all human sciences, all religions, and all philosophical doctrines. That's when I went all the way studying Freud, all of these, Carl Jung, Abraham Maslow, Karen Horney. And now I started visualizing some of their stuff, and it was so powerful for me. And at the time, of course, PTSD started going away. And that's when I met a man in my church, Boyd Oden. He's in Texas now. And he told me, this is what we need. Veterans, this is what we need, because he's a veteran, an Army veteran. And I was, of course, aware of what was going on in the military community. And so that's what also was hitting me, because my father was in the military all of his life, but he wanted me to be a priest. So that was super confusing. And he told me that the day I get dropped at the seminary. So I didn't have time to speak with anyone about it. So it just stuck in my head, and it sunk deep in my subconscious. And that's also how I understand the power of the subconscious mind. An infinite power that's just sitting there. And the more we are afraid, the more it is paralyzed. I start understanding these things about myself, and visualizing them makes me make so much progress. I start working with more people. And now at the time I was also writing a book, because actually the quote that I was sharing online was coming from the book. And I was thinking, man, if someone cannot understand it when I post it online, how much are they going to get from the book? And so that's when I realized that maybe I shouldn't be writing a book, but doing an online course. In the beginning, I'm not sure who was going to be designed for, but veterans and students are in my mind, because students also struggle to find their path. And so, long story short, after all of this, I did the case study fund out of pocket by myself, and veterans indeed loved it and continue to. We have so much success out of the case study, and now we are still creative, we are still growing, and we are still successful. And I'm still alive, man, because that's important. I think we live in a system that is monopolistic, and therefore there is one person on top that's trying to pull strings on everybody else. So we don't have any freedom. What's wrong with a free market economy? What's wrong with a real central bank? So all of these things, to me, are the biggest challenges that we have, because veterans are going to be fine. A bunch of things are mental, but they're going to be fine. But the country may not be, if we still have systems that go against our best interests, the best interests of our families, the best interests of our communities, and continue dividing people like a bunch of monkeys. We don't need that. So that's how I started with FaithSMagnet. The Federal Reserve was a catalyst force, but they're losing, okay? Bill Bratton's no longer there. All of the people in the government of New York, the whole system fell apart, and I'm still here alive. Okay, so I won. And this process, this system that I put together works for everybody. You don't ever have to be afraid of nothing or nobody. If something doesn't make sense, you can say it. And that's how our creativity happens. That's how we push the envelope and invent things. And if people are stopping that, it's because they see you making progress. To them, they want to steal your banana, when in fact you're just self-actualizing, you're just growing, and that's freedom. They can't just stop someone because they don't like them, and that's not fair, especially for a government organization or government. It's not even a government entity, okay? It's not a government entity. It's unconstitutional and it's criminal. So that's the Federal Reserve, if you want to understand what it is. Because people are asking me also, what's the deal with the Federal Reserve? And so that's the whole story. But now this is all behind me. I don't even want to think about it. And that's why I'm posting this video, so that hopefully I don't have to spend another hour telling stories how I got my shoulder dislocated by the police in Virginia for a crime that never took place. So please, it was painful enough. And I am happy now that I'm continuing to do what I love, and being able to provide great services to the military community. So if you have any questions, please drop a comment below. And if you want to work with us, don't be afraid of anything, okay? No one can touch you. Only your mindset can destroy you. So if you're dealing with PTSD, if you have any issue, inner mind struggle that disrupt you in your daily life, that's more important, okay, than being afraid of something else, because you don't want to turn into a wet monkey also, because fear is how the people who want to manipulate us are using to keep us in prison in our mind. And so we have to be free, we have to be creative, we have to be happy, we have to be successful, we have to be self-actualizing, we have to be friendly, we have to be loving, and that's the way the human mind is designed to be. Anything else is a mistake. So that's the premise of the program, Be the Best Version of You. And I hope you're gonna jump on a call, because all of these things may seem simple, but when we understand the way it works subconsciously, 95% of the time we do things subconsciously. The subconscious mind is doing 95% of everything we do, and it is 30,000 times more powerful than us. So whomever we think we are, we have a power inside of us that's 30,000 times more. This is neuroscience, so it is not religion, it is scientific. Just learning psychology of the self help us figure out what's our ideal path, heal, and do all of the things that we want and be healthy humans. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you in the program. Book a time with us if you want to learn how this would apply to you. But it's the same stuff that's been studied for thousands of years. It's just that it goes a lot deeper than people think, and that's what we can do with visual learning, because it makes it so simple. So that's the vision, that's the strategy, and our mission is actually to disrupt the status quo. Because if we don't do things that disrupt this status quo, we stay stuck in it. So do something differently and try mental tap, FaithSMagnet mental tap, Be the Best Version of You, if you can, because it's going to follow our page on Facebook, and on check out our videos on YouTube and on LinkedIn, obviously. But we do a lot, and we love what we do. We try to grow. We want to create a team of veterans who are going to coach other veterans. And then when we expand to civilians, we are going to hire only coaches who are veterans so that they can coach civilians, because civilians don't have a superior mindset like veterans do. So thank you again. And if you want to work with us, book a time, and I'll be happy to learn more about you and share more information. Thank you.